Once there was a poor man named Tom. He had no money, no home, and no food. But he was happy. "I will find something," he said. "I will walk down this road to the next town." After a short time, a very old woman called to him from across the street. "What do you want?" asked Tom. "What do I want? I want money," said the old woman. "You can have money," said the old woman. "Take this magic red coat and climb to the top of that tall oak tree. Then climb down inside it. You will come into a big room with 200 lights. There are 3 doors. Go through the first door and you will see a big box. On the box sits a dog with eyes as big as coins. Don't be afraid. It won't hurt you. Put my red coat on the floor. Take the dog and put it down on the red coat in front of the box. Open the box and you will see money. Take some. Go through the second door and you will see a bigger box. On the box sits a dog with eyes as big as melons. Don't be afraid. It won't hurt you. Put the dog down on the coat in front of the box. Open the box and you will see gold. Take some. Go through the third door and there you will see the biggest box. On the box sits a dog with eyes as big as platters. Don't be afraid. It is friendly. There are jewels in the box. Take some. "This is wonderful," said Tom. "But what can I do for you?" "I don't want any money or gold or jewels," said the old woman. "I only want one little thing in the third room. There's a small glass box my grandmother lost there. Bring me that box." Tom climbed up the tree and then down inside it. He went down and down until he saw the 200 lights and the 3 doors. He opened the first door and went into a little room. There on a box was a dog with eyes as big as coins. "Good dog," said Tom. He remembered the old woman's words. He put her coat on the floor, took the dog and put it down on the coat in front of the box. He opened the box and got very excited. He took some money and put it in his hat. He put the dog back on the box and went into the second room. There on a box was a dog with eyes as big as melons. "You're a fine dog," said Tom. He put the dog down in front of the box and opened it. His eyes were suddenly as yellow as the gold in the box. Tom took some gold and put it in his hat. Then he went inside to the last room. This dog's eyes were as big as platters. "You are a very fine dog," he said. Tom looked at the jewels in the box. His eyes were suddenly red, blue, yellow, green, and gold. He took some jewels and put them in his shoes. Then he remembered the old woman's glass box. He found it on the floor next to the dog. He climbed back up inside the tree again. It was harder this time with the heavy gold and jewels, but he managed to get out of the tree. "Here," he called to the old woman when she saw him, but he did not throw it down. Suddenly, a stone hit him on the head. "Help! I'm going to fall and die," he said, but he put out a hand and did not fall. "Did you throw that stone?" he called. "Yes, now give me the box," she said, not very friendly now. "I'm not going to give it to you," he answered. The old woman got very angry and her face looked very ugly. He climbed to the ground and walked away down the road. She called him names, but he did not answer. She could do nothing. It was night when he came to the town. He found a nice room and asked for the best food. The next day, he went out and bought beautiful clothes. He was a very important and rich man. People thought he had suddenly gained many friends. One day, somebody asked him, "Do you know about the princess?" "What princess?" asked Tom. "Who is she? Where does she live?" "You cannot see her," answered the man. "Why not?" asked Tom. "Because she is in a big house and can't leave it. There is only one door, and the windows are high up. She never goes out. The king says nobody can see her." "Why does she live this way?" asked Tom. "Because a clever old man told the king that your daughter would marry a poor man. The king was very angry. She decided the big house with high windows and shut the princess in it." "I want to see the princess," said Tom. He found the house and went to the door, but the king's servants quickly sent him away. Then he put on his most expensive clothes and went to the king's home. The king was very angry. "Don't come near my house again," he shouted. "I will cut off your head and put it on a stick." Tom lived well during this time and quickly used his money. One day he only had 2 jewels left. He left his nice room and found a poor house to live in. Tom was poor now. Nobody cooked his food and nobody cleaned his shoes. His rich friends did not invite him to their homes. He tried to find the tree with the 3 dogs again, but he couldn't find it. After a short time, Tom had no money. No money for food. He looked around his room. What could he sell? There on the table, he saw the little glass box. "Perhaps I can buy some bread with this," he thought. "Why did the old woman want it? It is glass, but I can't see into it. Perhaps there are jewels or gold inside." He tried to open the box, but he couldn't. He hit it once with his hand. Suddenly, the dog with eyes as big as coins appeared in front of him. "What do you want?" asked the dog. "What do I want?" cried Tom. "I want money." The dog went away and quickly came back with a bag of money in its mouth. Tom thought for a moment and said, "I know. The first dog comes when I hit the box once. The second dog will come when I hit the box again. The third dog will come when I hit the box 3 times." He hit the box 1, 2, and the dog with eyes as big as melons brought gold. He hit the box 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And the dog with eyes as big as platters brought jewels. Tom was rich again, and he bought beautiful clothes and moved to a big house. All his friends came back. "Why didn't you visit us?" he said. Tom did not like these friends. He only thought about the sad princess. "She can never go out," he thought. "She can never walk in the garden. Her mother is dead, and she can only speak to the servants and the old king. She has an unhappy life." One night, Tom could not sleep, and suddenly he had an idea and got up from his bed. He took the glass box and hit it once. The dog came. "It is night, a beautiful night," said Tom, "and nobody will see. I know that the princess would like a walk in my garden. Bring her here very quickly." The dog went and came back. The princess was asleep on its back. Her beautiful face looked sad. Tom woke her and took her into the garden. "Where am I?" she cried. "What is happening?" She was afraid. "You are walking with me in my garden," said Tom. Look, the flowers are asleep. A garden? Cried the princess. Am I outside with the ground under my feet and the sky over my head? No walls, no windows. I can hear the sounds of the night around me. They walked for a long time. Then the sun started to appear. I have to go, she said. But how did I get here? Tom told her about the glass box and the dogs. She hid the box and called the dog. Good dog, she said when it appeared. You have beautiful eyes. Take me home. I don't want anybody to see us. Thank you for this night. The princess climbed on the dog's back and fell asleep. The next day, the princess did not remember anything, but she felt different. Her servant, Anna, a jealous and unkind woman, woke her. Wake up, princess. It is the middle of the day. The king is waiting for you. Is he? Said the princess, and she jumped happily out of bed. Look, Anna, it's a beautiful day. Anna started to think that a number of things were strange. First, the princess always got up at 7, but today it was 12. Second, the princess was always sad, but today she was happy. Third, the bottom of the princess's nightdress was dirty. Fourth, there was a beautiful white flower on the princess's bedroom floor. But there were no. After Hans and the princess were married, the kingdom was filled with joy. The townsfolk celebrated their union with music, dancing, and colorful decorations. The sky seemed brighter, and laughter echoed through the streets. However, amidst the festivities, Hans felt a stirring of worries deep within him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and purple, Hans sat alone in the castle garden. The flowers bloomed brightly, and the air was sweet with their fragrance. But Hans's heart was heavy. He had everything he could ever want: a beautiful wife, a grand home, and respect from the people. Yet, he could not shake the feeling of responsibility that weighed on him. He thought of the old woman who had given him the magic blue coat and the 3 dogs. What if she needed something? What if her glass box was still lost? Are you all right, my love? The princess asked, approaching him gently. Her long flowing gown swayed softly with her every step. She sensed Hans's unease. I am just thinking about the future, Hans replied, forcing a smile. This kingdom is wonderful, and I love it here with you. But I wonder if I've done enough to deserve all this. The princess knelt beside him, taking his hand. You have given me a life filled with happiness. I never thought I could experience such joy after being locked away for so long. You saved me, Hans. Her voice trembled slightly, and Hans could see the sincerity in her eyes. But at what cost? He murmured. What if I lose it all? What if someone finds out about my past? Then we will face it together, she said firmly. You are not alone anymore. We are a team. Her words filled Hans with warmth. He took a deep breath, releasing some of his tension. You are right. I should not dwell on what might happen. I have you, and that is enough. As the days turned into weeks, Hans and the princess settled into their new lives. They spent time in the garden, planting flowers of all colors. They laughed together, shared dreams of the future. The villagers adored them, often stopping by to share stories and join in the festivities. Yet, as the seasons changed, so did the princess. One evening, after the sun had set, Hans noticed the princess staring at the moon. Her expression was distant. Lost in thought, he approached her carefully. "What troubles you, dear?" "I love our life, Hans," she said softly. "But sometimes I feel a pull to my old home. I miss my mother and the time we had before everything changed. I want to honor her memory." Hans felt a pang in his heart. He understood how much her mother meant to her. "How can we do that?" he asked gently. "We could plant white flowers in the garden. They were my mother's favorites, and I believe they would bring her spirit closer to us," she replied, her eyes shining with determination. The next day, they gathered the townsfolk to help them plant a beautiful garden filled with white flowers. The community joined in, sharing stories of the princess's mother, recounting her kindness and strength. Hans felt the warmth of their love and support as they worked side by side, creating a space that honored the princess's past. However, as they planted, a dark cloud seemed to hover over the kingdom. Rumors began to spread that an enemy kingdom was preparing to attack. One night, Hans stood on the castle balcony, looking out over the landscape. He could see the flickering lights of the village below, but his heart was heavy with dread. "Do you hear those whispers?" the princess said, joining him. "They say our kingdom is in danger." "We will protect our home, my love," Hans reassured her. "I will gather our people and prepare for anything that comes our way." The princess nodded, but her expression was filled with concern. "What if they come for me? They might want to use me against you." "We will not let that happen," Hans declared, his voice firm. "Together, we are strong." As the days turned into weeks, tension grew. Hans and the princess held meetings with their advisors, discussing strategies and defenses. The townspeople rallied around them, but uncertainty loomed like a shadow. One fateful night, as they prepared for bed, a loud knock echoed through the castle. Hans rushed to the door, his heart pounding. A soldier stood there, breathless and wide-eyed. "My lord, they are coming." Hans's heart raced. "Gather the guards, prepare the people. We must protect our kingdom." The princess watched as Hans sprang into action, fear flashing in her eyes. "Be careful, Hans." "I will," he promised, giving her a reassuring smile. The castle was soon filled with the sound of clanging metal and shouts. The guards assembled, ready to defend their home. Hans stood tall, commanding their attention. "We are strong together. We will not let fear take us. Fight for our future." With determination, they prepared to face their enemy. The princess watched from her window, her heart racing as she prayed for her husband's safety. As dawn broke, the enemy soldiers approached, their banners flapping in the air. Hans led his men into battle, their hearts united by love and loyalty. The clash of swords rang out, and the air was filled with the shouts of men fighting for their lives. In the chaos, Hans fought valiantly, defending his kingdom with every ounce of strength. The princess stood at the window, tears in her eyes, praying for Hans's safety. Suddenly, a loud crash shook the castle and the ground trembled beneath her. "Stay back," she shouted to the guards around her. "I must find him." Determined, she rushed through the castle, following the sounds of battle. Finally, she found Hans in the thick of the fight, his sword raised high. "Hans!" she cried, fear gripping her heart. "Be careful." He turned his eyes, meeting hers, filled with love and determination. "I will protect our kingdom, I promise." With that, he charged back into battle, fighting for their future. The princess watched, her heart swelling with pride and fear. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. With the bravery of Hans and the townspeople, they pushed back the enemy, forcing them to retreat. Cheers erupted from the defenders, and the kingdom erupted in celebration. Finally, as the sun set on the battlefield, Hans returned to the princess, covered in dirt and sweat. "We did it," he said, pulling her into his arms. Tears of relief filled her eyes as she held him tightly. "I was so scared, Hans. I couldn't lose you." "You won't, I promise. We will face everything together," he whispered, kissing her forehead. From that day forward, the bond between Hans and the princess grew stronger. They planted more white flowers in the garden, creating a beautiful tribute to her mother. And as the seasons changed, so did their lives, filled with love, laughter, and the joy of a future they had fought for together.